he's telling a story to someone, and Jacob, you'll have a few lines. All right. So we're on page 257, part 3 is where we're starting today. This is where today's reading was. And we're going to read these lines and discuss what's happened up until this point where we stopped reading for today. All right, so go ahead and start reading for us, Connor.
There passed a weary time?
Yep.
There passed a weary time. Each throat was parched and glazed each eye. A weary time, a weary time.
I like how he's saying it because they could barely talk because of how dry they were from not having much to drink. Keep going.
How glazed each weary eye, when looking westward, I beheld something in the sky. At first it seemed a little speck, and then it seemed a mist, and it moved, and took at last a certain shape I wist. With throats
you skipped a line. You skipped a good. You skipped a good rhyming stanza here.
A speck, a mist, a shape I wist.
Yeah, so I like that rhyme there. Mark that. A speck, a mist, a shape I wist. All right, so as it's moving closer, we're going to see what this shape is. Keep going.
And still it neared and neared. As it dodged a water sprite, it plunged and tacked and veered. With throats unslaked, with black lips baked, we could not laugh or wail. Though utter drought all dumb we stood, I bit my arm and sucked the blood, and cried, "A sail, a sail."
All right, hold on there just for a second before you turn the page. Let's get what's happening here. You're doing a great job kind of reading that. I appreciate your enthusiasm reading this. All right, now why is it, this is sort of gross here. Actually, it's not sort of gross. It's very gross. Why does the mariner have to suck his arm and drink his blood? Mariah, Connor, go hand to the mic.
Moisture?
Yes, for moisture. Notice what's happening here. This is a good description by Coleridge, even though it's pretty gross. Their lips are so dry that none of them can speak at all. So the mariner is looking out in the distance, and he sees the ship, and he's all excited because out in the distance he sees the ship, but his lips are so dry. Notice what he says, their lips were black. You can get the picture of someone so thirsty the lips are black. His lips were so black, he was so dry that he couldn't speak. So he wants to yell, a ship, but all that's coming out is, he can't speak anything. So the only way that he can speak, he has to get some moisture. So sadly, he bites his arm, sucks some blood, and is able to barely get enough moisture to yell out, "A sail, a sail." So that's how he's telling the crew, "I see a boat coming." All right, flip to page 258. And by the way, as we're going, we see some great pictures by Dore, was the one who made these pictures here that describe what's happening. All right, keep going.
With throats unslaked, with black lips baked, agape they heard me call. Gramercy, they for did grin, and all at once their breath drew in, as they were drinking all.
So they're very happy. This boat's coming, we might be rescued. Hopefully that boat has some fresh water on it we can drink. Keep going.
See, see, I cried. She tacks no more, hither to work us wheel. Without a breeze, without a tide, she steadies with upright keel.
All right, let's stop there just for a second. So they're all excited because there's a boat coming this way, but then the thought comes into their mind, we're moving still here, so the wedding guests might be thinking, I'm sorry, we're not moving still, we're sitting still, and so because we're sitting still, what's odd about this boat coming their way?
I don't know.
All right, think about it. What moved boats back then?
Waves.
And?
Water.
And?
Wind.
Wind, there we go. All right. So the wind is moving the boats. All right. There might be currents that move the boats as well, but the wind is moving the boats. So if your boat is sitting still, but a boat next to you is moving, is that a little odd to anyone? It probably would be, because if their boat is moving because of the wind, your boat probably would be as well. All right, keep going.
The western wave was all aflame. The day was well nigh done. Almost upon the western wave rested the broad bright sun, when that strange shape drove suddenly betwixt us and the sun. And straight the sun was flecked with bars. Heaven's mother, send us grace, as if through a dungeon grate he peered with broad and burning face. Alas, thought I, and my heart beat loud, how fast she nears and nears. All those her sails and glanced in the sun, like restless gossameres.
All right, notice what's being said here. What does this boat look like as it's coming their way? Esther, did you pick up on this? And notice it says the sails are like gossamers, which means what? Floating webs, which, you get any description? Is this a normal boat?
The web makes me think of a spider, but I think it's like a ghost ship.
Yes, really it is. It's like a skeleton type ship, and the sails really aren't full sails. They're more like spider webs that are coming their way. And so really we see a ghost type ship, a skeleton of a ship coming their way. So let's see who's on the ship as we look across the page 259. Go ahead.
Are those her ribs through which the sun did peer as through a grate? And is that woman all her crew? Is that a death? And are there two? Is death that woman's mate? Her lips were red, her looks were free, her locks were yellow as gold. Her skin was as white as leprosy, the nightmare left life in death was she, who thicks man's blood with cold.
All right, it might be a little unclear to you, but you might want to write down, there's two people aboard this boat that's coming their way. You might write this down. Their names are Death and Life and Death. So those are the two people. Death is the man, the mate of the woman whose name is Life and Death. So the man is Death, who's on the boat, and the woman is Life and Death. Now, as we're going to see in the next stanza, as the boat is coming their way, they're playing a little game. They're having a dice game, and really what they're going to do is whoever wins the dice game gets control of the ancient mariner, the captain of the ship. So they want control of the ship, so Death is going to be versus Life and Death playing, and whoever wins the game is going to win control of the mariner. All right, Connor, keep reading.
The naked hawk alongside came, and the twain were casting dice. The game is done, I've won, quoth she and whistles thrice.
All right, so who won? The woman, which would be whom, class? Life and Death, yes. So the ancient mariner is not going to die. Life and Death gets control of him, meaning that he's going to have a pretty miserable life because Life and Death is going to get control of him. Since Life and Death won control of the mariner, who wins control of the rest of the ship then, class? Death, yes. So Death is going to get control of the rest of the men on the ship. All right, keep going.
The sun's rim dips, the stars rush out. At one stride comes the dark. With far-heard whisper o'er the sea, off shot the spectre bark.
All right, so all of a sudden, the ship just disappears. As quickly as it came, we find out who wins the game, and the ship just disappears all of a sudden. Keep going.
We listened and looked sideways up. Fear at my heart, as at a cup, my lifeblood seemed to sip. The stars were dim, and thick the night. The steersman's face by his lamp gleamed white. From the sails the dew did drip, till clomb above the eastern bar the horned moon with one bright star within the nether tip.
Keep going.
One after one by the star-darked moon, too quick for groan or sigh, each turned his face with a ghastly pang and cursed me with his eye.
Right, so all of a sudden, one by one, remember the Death won control of the rest of the men in the crew. So one by one, these men aboard the ship are glancing an eye at this mariner and really cursing him with their face. Now, Jacob, why would they be upset at the mariner? What did he do?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. And last lesson we talked about this. Who or what did he shoot?
The albatross.
Yes, and because, according to the story, because he shot the albatross, it's a curse has fallen upon them. So they think, man, we never would have died if you hadn't killed this albatross, because obviously a curse has come upon us. All right, keep going, Connor.